Hi everyone, just wanted to do audio check before I start today's session. Are you able to hear me? If one of you can kind of come to the chat window and say that your audio is clear, we can get started. Is the audio clear? Are you able to hear me? Super, super. Thanks, Mani. We'll get started. Yep. Hi, good evening. Welcome to this first session. This is a session that we plan to continue for quite some time in the future, where we plan to answer questions that get asked either in the community postings of our YouTube or comment section of our YouTube channel or on Instagram or Facebook, wherever students have questions, doubts generally about MBA and GMAT preparation, not related to a specific quant or a verbal question. We would like to address those through these sessions. We ideally would like to do this session once every 2 weeks. Let's see how many questions flow in. Accordingly, we'll do that, right? So today's session, before we start, I wish all of you good health and to stay safe, especially people in India, people in South Asia. There's been a surge in cases, so it's best to be as safe as you can. With that note, we'll get started. I'm going to be answering about 6-7 questions. The first one was actually, I thought, a very, very relevant question in this context. The question is, if I did MBA now, if I joined a B school right now, I'd be graduating in 2022 or 2023, depending upon whether it's a 1-year MBA or a 2-year MBA. What would the job scenario look like then, is this question. It's a very, very, very relevant question for anyone who's planning to venture into MBA. I'll answer this question with 4 ideas or 4 concepts in mind. The first and foremost is what is likely to be the scenario in 2022-23, right? I'm actually stepping in and doing a little bit of clairvoyance here. So to that extent, I would like to say that, take this with a pinch of salt, because I'm no person who can predict things. I read a lot. Based on what I read, I'm trying to tell you what is likely to be the scenario, right? One of the things that's happening is, in the West, at least in the rich countries, vaccination is happening is at a very good pace. They're talking about close to 60 or 70% of their population likely to be vaccinated by the end of the year. Even in India, the government is talking about an ambitious plan to vaccinate a lot of the population. This, if it continues as planned, right? One of the things that I've read about in one of the articles in Economist is that there is close to about $5 trillion of money that the rich world has not spent post pandemic. Essentially, going out has been ruled out, lockdown has been in place, restaurants, holidays, beach going, none of that has happened. Which essentially means that they got close to $5 trillion of money which is in savings, which has not been spent. So, economists in that article said that in the next year or so, or 18 months, this money is likely to get spent when the pent up demand gets fulfilled. Recently, I've also read what is happening in the US job market. When you look at April job market, there have been lots of industries that have had trouble finding people. There have been jobs doing the round, but there have not been enough people who want to take up the jobs because there are not enough people around right now. So there is a surge that's happening in terms of employment opportunities. One in the US, likely to be following suit in other countries also. So if all these articles are some things that someone would go by, then in the next 2 to 4 years, they're talking about the kind of growth that these rich economies will have, which would be tantamount to or will even surpass what many of these economies saw post World War II. That's a humongous growth that we are talking about, which means that the rub-off effect is going to happen throughout the world. So 2022-23, if all these predictions were to come true, you're likely to be graduating in a scenario where the MBA market, not just MBA market, any employment market is going to be phenomenal, right? So this is a bit of clairvoyance, this is a bit of from what I have read. We'll hope all of these things come true. There is a caveat to this. What if a third wave happens? What if this vaccination worked only with the earlier round of coronaviruses? Lots of uncertainties there. But from what I read, it looks like things are looking bright, right? That's one. Second thing, which you also need to consider, whoever has asked this question, and it's true for anyone, what is your current reality? Are you already in a good job? Or are you just someone with 2 years of college experience? In that case, just while it out a little bit, right? Probably prepare for the GMAT, write the GMAT. The GMAT score is valid for 5 years. Hold on, see how things pan out, right? A year from now, there is going to be a lot more clarity than what we have right now. right? Is the second wave the last wave? Is there going to be a third wave? Are we well prepared as a world as a whole, not just India or not just one particular country, to face this? Do we have enough medicines that can withstand it? Is the virus itself running its course and then we all come back to normal, right? Spanish flu lasted about 3 years or 4 years is what they said. This could last a lot lesser, basically because the science has improved a lot. So keeping that in mind, if you're just someone with 2 years experience who has a good job, who's doing things right now, I would say wait out before you look at an MBA. Just write the GMAT, keep it handy. If things improve, you can quickly apply and move on to the next available calendar. But if you're someone with, let's say, 10 plus years of experience, you're already having quite a lot of experience. For a lot of business school, your experience is likely to be a little above the median, not little, a lot above the median. So you probably would not want to postpone your GMAT for too long. So in that case, you probably would not want to wait for 2022-23 how things pan out before you take the call, right? The third thing also to keep in mind is, do you already have a job in hand? Or are you in between jobs, right? Pandemic has made a lot of us go out of job. If you're in that kind of a scenario, then possibly looking at an MBA might not be a bad option. So your current reality is one. Likely scenario looks bright from what I read. The third thing to keep in mind is basically, don't look at MBA based on how it is going to pan out in 2022-23. An MBA is something which you'll have to take a long-term view. Yes, I agree. It is like timing the market versus investing in good stocks. An MBA is in general like investing in a good stock. In the long run, it's going to give you a lot of value. The timing, many times people, even the best of the investors will say, you can't time the market well, right? Similarly, you cannot take such a great call on the timing. Prepare for it. My thing is, depending upon your current reality, write the GMAT, have the score in hand, even get your resume, some of your essay points ready in place. If you think that things are improving, if you think that the world looks brighter than what it is even 2-3 months down the line, when the application window opens, which is likely to be in the month of August or September, if things look promising, if you have a GMAT score at that point in time, you can quickly apply, right? So keep that perspective. An MBA, notwithstanding how 22-23 is going to be, in the long run is going to make a lot of difference to your career options, right? Unless you are someone who is heavily into something like data analytics, who is heavily into tech. I'm not talking about doing client serve support kind of thing. I'm talking about guys who actually write OAS, who write algorithms and like heavily into it. Or you're into biotech, who is doing research on like vaccines and viruses and that kind of stuff. If you're not a tech person, an MBA is certainly going to make a big difference to your career. So the long-term view of an MBA is bright. Is 22-23, is it likely to be the only thing which is going to be a game changer? I don't think it should. Give you an example. We had a student who joined a business school, Darden, in 2007. When she joined 2007, the entire world was looking rosy, right? The world financial markets were skyrocketing. Basically, the housing bubble was like still blowing up, right? So therefore, no one even thought twice about whether I'll get a job or not get a job. And this is from a top school such as Darden. She graduated in the middle of the housing bubble burst. It took her 6 months. She had to switch from one OPT to another in the US, right? Through her alumni network and like career sale and everything. And finally, by the month of October or something, the year in which she graduated, is when she could land up with a job with a large retailing company, right? Those 6 months obviously is going to be like painful. It's not going to be easy. You're not sure whether you're going to be in the US. You're not sure whether you're going to get a job. You're not sure whether the job is something that you want to keep. So all of these things run in your mind. But sooner than later, if you did a good MBA, even in a bad year such as 2008, you will land up with a job and things will start looking up better. 10-12 years down the line, she's happy for having done an MBA from a top business school. The long-term view of an MBA is going to be good. In the short run, for 2 months, for 3 months, for 6 months, probably a year, things could be bad. We've had people who had joined top consulting companies in the US post an MBA, but could not convert the H1 lottery 3 years in a row and have come back to India. Right, next lottery happens, they might get it, they'll still go back. So in the short run, it doesn't look nice for them because like you are earning something like 150,000 US dollars in the US and you're down to a 25 lakh job in India. Even if it's in the same company, it's not something that you basically bargained for. So it's a short run thing. In the medium term, things will pan out better. So have a long term view of an MBA. Don't just look at a short term view. And lastly, most important thing is mitigate your financial risk when you're looking at an MBA, because a lot of what we are talking about 2022-23 is, will I get a job? With the investment that I made into an MBA, can I repay it? Is it going to come to bite me? That's a question that we ask. So mitigate financial risk. Even in these times, even in these years, if you have a very good GMAT score, if you have a good profile, schools provide scholarships. schools provide you with tuition fee waiver. So you might want to compromise on some ranking in the school. For example, a 15th rank school might give you a 20% tuition fee waiver. A 25th rank school might give you a 70% tuition fee waiver. To mitigate financial risk, you might want to go and pick up a 25th rank school and get 70% tuition fee waiver. So you are better off having done that MBA with a less financial risk in mind. Most of these things, the financial assistantship comes by way of a good GMAT score. So there's something that it's clearly, without an iota of doubt, advises. While you're at it right now, preparing for the GMAT, if you're in the path to writing the GMAT, right, do everything that you can to hit a 740 plus GMAT score. A 740 plus GMAT score is a score that's going to land you up with some kind of tuition fee waiver, and it's going to mitigate financial risk. So 4 things to keep in mind to decide whether you want to take up the MBA right now, so that you'll graduate. When you're graduating in 22, 23, how is the market likely to be? It looks rosy, right, from what I read. Your current reality, that has to really be factored in, because it is a case-to-case basis. You cannot have a uniform advice for everyone. The long-term view of an MBA is good. So 22, 23, even if it is not as I've read or as I think it's likely to be, in the long run, 25, 26, those kind of time frame, you're going to be a lot better off with an MBA than without an MBA. And finally, mitigate your financial risk. Look at getting some kind of tuition fee waiver. And most often, tuition fee waiver is a function of your GMAT score. I think I've kind of addressed the 4 points that I wanted to cover for this question. Let's move on to the second question. Second question is about, I have work experience in a certain domain and I'm planning to pursue MBA in a different domain. Will my work experience count? Right, I'm going to answer this question in 2 parts. I'll look at the chat window in a while, guys. I'm running through this slide. Towards the end, I'll look at the chat window, and if there are any more questions to be answered, I'll do it at that point in time, right? So right now, post your questions, post your comments, everything. We'll have a look at it at a later time. This question, there are 2 parts to it. So I plan to pursue an MBA in a different domain, right? There are 2 things. Will my work experience count? I'm going to address it in 2 parts, as I said. The first part is for your admissions purpose, right? See, many times business school admissions officer, what are they looking at? They're looking at, if you look at it, right, they're getting some input, raw material in terms of a pre-MBA graduate, right? They're pushing him through a process called an MBA, and the output at the end of the day to the school, right? The school will have academic intentions, the school will have like alumni intentions, all of those said and done. Many times the schools also measure whether they have done justice to an MBA candidate in terms of whether they have been able to find a placement for that person. So at the admission stage, you might probably want to have a story that is more likely to give conviction to the admissions officer that you are a product that 2 years down the line is likely to find the job, right? Let's say you've been working in tech, and you say that I want to pursue investment banking career. There are people who have shifted for it. It is possible. But if you're saying I have worked in tech, and I've worked in tech where I've worked in a retail vertical in tech, and I want to move into investment banking, there is nothing that basically gives credibility to your story, right? Person will read it, hey, he's done in tech, he's a coding guy, and this person has worked in the retail vertical, and now he wants to go into investment banking post an MBA. How likely is he likely to find a job? So the admission officer might have inhibitions and will have reservations about offering you a job. So at the admission stage, you might want to have a story which is more cohesive to what you did, and that could basically land up with an admission for you. The second is what is likely to happen as a post-MBA career. Post-MBA career, to a large extent, if you desire to, let's say, shift from retail vertical tech, you want to get into investment banking. 2 things. 1, don't with too much experience. You have 7 years of experience in, like, let's say, vertical, retail vertical in IT, and you want to shift to investment banking, chances of you making it is also that much lesser post an MBA. So have your ambitions which are more grounded, which are more realistic to what you have done, right? Whereas if you have only 2 years of experience, which is not much, and you're done in some vertical here, and you want to shift to investment banking, that is more likely to happen. So do a bit of research before saying that I want to shift domain. You might want to shift domain to finance, but it might not be in investment banking. It could be in like retail lending. It could be in those kinds of areas. So have a broader domain in mind. And the second important thing is, pre-MBA, we have some preconceived notions about what you want to do, what career you like, and all of those things. When you do an MBA, when you land up with some summer internship jobs, your ideas change. Basically, you're not aware of certain career options existing in a pre-MBA days at all. Give you an example. We had a student in 2005 who went to Purdue University. He used to work for an Indian software company as the sales head for their North America region. Took his GMAT, got into Purdue, he had his idea about moving from sell side IT to buy side IT. He used to tell me, Bhaskar, this is what I want to do. I want to get into a large bank, be in the buy side of IT, and then come back to India and then offshore those process. That's the best of both worlds, is what he said. Hey, I want to be sitting in Bangalore. I want to be sipping coffee in Chennai and heading an offshore unit for an American bank. So I get expat salary. I live a Chennai life. This was his dream before he left India for his Purdue MBA. When did his MBA? First year of MBA, he got a job with a large axle manufacturer called Eaton Inc. He, at the end of the summer internship, said, "This is not IT job. This is an ops job. I never thought there was such a role that existed, and such a role is cut out for someone like me." So many times what we think of as job opportunities, career opportunities that are existing pre-MBA is basically because we are not aware of the entire universe of jobs that are available to us post-MBA. My thing is, yes, have an ambition. Say that I want to shift a domain. I'm not saying all of those are wrong. Work toward it. If you're basically wanting to move into investment banking, then do some courses. It could be edX course, it could be Coursera courses, it could be NSE courses. If you might probably want to clear CFA level 1 to say that, hey, I am someone who is doing things to kind of justify my shift. Do that if you want to, but also go with an open mind, because you might come up with job opportunities and career opportunities which have not thought of, which are ideally cut out for you, right? So keep this open mind in mind. It is possible to shift, but if you're shifting, have enough points to justify in your CV, both for admissions as well as for post MBA career. And an MBA in many top business schools is not something like, you don't specially start by saying that it's an MBA in finance. You join an MBA, the degree is also awarded as an MBA. The second year, the kind of courses that you choose is what makes you an MBA in finance or MBA in marketing. So at that point in time is when you actually choose what your specialization is. So at the admission stage, I would want you to have a story which would give confidence to the admissions officer that 2 years down the line, you're likely to get a job, right? So keep this perspective in mind, right? Third question I have no work experience and I want to do an MBA abroad. Are there any colleges that I can apply to? See, this MBA is, I would think of it as a generic word that you are referring to, right? You want to do a business management master's course. In that case, there are top business schools without any experience will admit you to their MIM course. These are masters in management course. Curriculum is more or less similar to MBA. These courses came into being basically because a lot of Chinese and Indian origin people wanted to do their post-graduation in management immediately after completing their undergraduate degree. BE, BCom, BBA, want to immediately go do an MBA. That's how the Indian diaspora and the Chinese diaspora to a large extent worked in the past. Only now are we looking at a little bit of pre-MBA experience before we get into an MBA. So to address this population, it started with schools in Europe. They opened up a new category of program called MIM from the same top schools, right? It could be like London Business School, it could be St. Gallen, it could be HEC, the top-notch schools in Europe, the who's who in Europe as far as business schools go. They all started this MIM program. This is for people with less than 12 months or 18 months of work experience. The curriculum is similar to MBA. What's the downside? You start at an post-MIM career, which would probably be a couple of notches lower than what a post-MBA career from the same school is likely to be. Because a post-MBA career, a person who is joining MBA program in the same school is likely to have 4.5 to 5 years of experience. Whereas in this case, the number of years of experience is going to be a year or year and a half or even a fresher. So if you're looking at top colleges, look at MIM as a program rather than MBA as a program. That's my clear advice for someone who does not have any work experience. Conversely, you can compromise on schools. Second option is something that I'll never vote for, right? If I have to vote against it, it is for the second option. Where you do your business management program matters a lot more than when you do it. I would rather that you do it 7 years down the line. I'm not saying you'll have to wait 7 years. Don't do it now by compromising college. You will get an MBA degree itself from not so good colleges. Those MBAs are not going to take you too far. There's a question one of you have asked, and I'm going to be answering it down the line in the context of Indian MBA. That would kind of address why a good college makes a world of difference. MIM from a good college is worth 100 times an MBA from a not reputed college. College matters the most. So if you want to do it right away as a fresher, do an MIM, don't do an MBA. US schools have the equivalent of MS in management. So that's their equivalent of MIM. Right. Next question. The two questions that people asked and basically very similar themes. So I'll read out both the question and address them together. is there any age restriction for the examination, for the GMAT examination? If above 30 with 6+ years of work experience, what chances do I have in getting selected into top colleges? The second one is which B school and what type of program should I target if I have 7 to 10 years of work experience? The first one, there is no age restriction at all. I think the minimum requirement to write the GMAT is that you should be 13+ years of age, right? If you're 13 years and older, you're ready to write the GMAT. The GMAT does not per se have any restriction. Right, 6+ years of experience, 7+ years of experience. Actually, these are ideal experiences to get into top business schools outside India. Right. In the US, typical median age profile would be between 48 months and 65 months of work experience. So 6 years is a little above median, just above median. 7 years is a little more than above the median. So you are very much within the median slab. So this is a very good time to catch an MBA from US business schools. A lot of European business schools, because they are 1-year MBA programs, they have a little higher age profile in terms of people taking it up. Typically 29 years, 28 years is the age profile of people joining those business schools. So if you have 7 years plus, if you have 6+ years of experience, it's an ideal time to do an MBA abroad, and there is no age restriction to doing the GMAT. If you're looking at the Indian context, in the Indian context, a 2-year MBA versus a 1-year MBA, the IIMs have what are called as PGPX programs. These are very different from the executive MBA programs that you see abroad. These programs are residential, full-time, 1-year MBA programs. Curriculum is pretty much similar to the flagship 2-year program that the IIMs offer. They offer you placement. What is the difference? Because you come with 6+ years of experience. Many of these programs, IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, Lucknow, Indore, right? All of them offer it. XLRI offers a program which is also a 1-year MBA program. ISB has a program which is the ISB's flagship program, which is a 1-year MBA program. All of these save you a year. If you're having an India-centric career focus, I would suggest look at the PGPX programs and the program from ISB and XLRI. These are phenomenal programs with your 6+ years of experience to get into. If you have an international career-centric ambition, then I would suggest go and look at programs which are basically US or Europe centric, and you're absolutely spot on in terms of your age profile. A couple of years down the line, you're likely to be a little older. You're right now in the right age profile. You should do the GMAT. Try and gun for an admission starting as early as 2022 January, right? A lot of Europe schools have like calendars which start in spring, January. So you can even start gunning for them if you start your GMAT preparation right away. The next question. It's been a long time, 10+ years since I've been involved with academics. I have to write the GMAT or GRE. How do I go about it? 10+ years of experience is a lot of time to have lost touch with academics. So you need to make a beginning somewhere, right? Keep this in mind. We have had time and again, this is right, for every 100 students, about 8 to 10 students will have 10+ years of experience. And my experience of having interacted with them, many of them have got 680+ GMAT scores. I think when you come with 10+ years of experience, you come with so much more seriousness. You don't take the GMAT as one of the 3 or 4 career things that are available to you. If you're 2 years into work, if you're 3 years into work, you typically have multiple things working for you. You'll think that, shall I shift a job right now? Shall I basically do one of those CCNA program, Norton NA program, all of them? I'm probably not good in tech stuff, right? So you might want to do a program. Some of you might want to do a CFA. Some of you might be looking at, can I look at some body shopping kind of options to do work abroad, right? Multiple options run in your mind, and the GMAT is one of those things. When you're coming into a GMAT with a 10+ years of experience, you probably have done some of this in the past, and you know that an MBA is required for you to breach that glass ceiling that is right now not letting you go where you want to go. So those are people who take it a lot more seriously. It's not that the younger population is not. Younger population has more options. So people with 10+ years of experience quite often have scored 680+. The highest score we have had with the 10+ years of experience has been with an army veteran. 770 is what he scored. So if the first thing I wanted to address is that if you have 10+ years of experience, do not fret. My experience with having helped these students is that they tended to have scored a lot of marks. So this is something, if should give you motivation. I have done the motivation bit right now. Let me answer it. Look at a time window which is not a 2-month, 3-month time window. Give yourself a 6-month time window. In fact, I would say even if it stretches to 8 months, do not worry. You're starting with a long gap. Think of it as a 1-day match, not as a 2020 match, right? In the cricket context, you're going to be batting for 50 overs as much as possible. You're going to be the Rahul Dravid who's going to be doing it and getting us past that line. So have that kind of a window when you're actually preparing for it. Don't try to do justice in 3 months, right? Because you will need it to do justice to your preparation. The second thing, break the inertia. You might probably join a course and everything. I'll talk about that in the next point. But break the inertia. Get started with something. Start reading every day. Read at least a couple of articles every day. There are few good videos available, not because it's mine. I'm just saying one of the good videos is available on the Visaco channel itself. Get started with GMAT Quant is what it is called. I'll leave the URL of that in the description or in one of the comments as soon as this video gets where I should have given it here, right? So once that you look at that video, so it kind of gives you an introduction to math, various topics. Pick up any of the standard quantitative aptitude books or even pick the official guide to the GMAT. Start working its quant portion. I typically recommend people to do it after the courses are over, but in your case I'll start it upfront because those questions give you an idea about this is the lay of the land when it comes to the GMAT. Invest about 15 days to understanding these things, right? So break the inertia, make that first beginning. Get yourself to sit in a place and study for an hour every day for the GMAT. Read regularly every day for the GMAT. Get that idea about getting into the preparation mode. Take you about 15 days, could take you about 3 weeks. The good thing about the lockdown is if you're in a place where it is a lockdown, commute is not there, right? Work from home gives you that freedom to do all of these things. Make this as an opportunity to get into that. The third thing is something that I strongly recommend. It's not about Visaco course. I would suggest join a course. It could be with a private tutor. It could be with some other company. Doesn't matter with whom. The search cost is too high. Many times people say that like, hey, videos are available on YouTube. They're available on Telegram channels. Many of these things do the rounds, but you do not have a mentor who is assigned to you. You do not have a place where you can post your doubts, get them clarified meaningfully. You will not have a structure. You will not have someone to fall back on when you need things. Search cost is too high, and everyone will have his or her opinion about any single question. It's not that those opinions are wrong. If you have 7 opinions, you do not know which one to take. You would rather do a bit of analysis, find out with whom you are able to have that chemistry that you think that, hey, this is the tutor with whom I will be able to learn. Identify one such person. After the 3 weeks of initial getting started, right? Do the 3 weeks, break the inertia, spend about a week, 10 days, attend demo classes, speak to private tutors, find out what will work for you depending upon what your cost is. What you'll invest in the GMAT preparation by going with a tutor or with a course is less than 1% of what is the total cost of doing an MBA. Get the step right, you'd probably get that 100% of the cost down to probably 30% because you might get scholarships, right? That's the third thing. And the last thing, it's definitely worth the effort, especially when you start with 10 plus years of experience. You'll be in the middle management. You're probably like stretching yourself, stepping into the doors of the senior management. It's going to be a lot of responsibility on your shoulder, and you're likely to have a lot of responsibility on your personal life too. So having this perspective in mind, many times you might want to think that my career is already doing reasonably well. Should I do this? Should I solve this permutation combination question? There'll be many times that doubt will come in your mind. I can guarantee you a 720 plus, 730 plus GMAT score, 10 plus years of experience will certainly be worth it. It will open doors to career opportunities which are right now not available to you. So anytime you get into this idea saying that, should I? Is it really worth it? Just tell yourself, hey, it's worth it, and get going with it. So if you have 10 plus years of experience, the only thing is have a slightly longer time window to prepare. Break the inertia, go with some course, right? It could be a tutor, it could be an online course, offline post lockdown, right? And it's definitely worth the effort, right? I think this is probably the last of the questions we'll be looking at today. I've completed my MBA in India from a tier 3 college, right? This is the one that I was talking about, the question I'm going to address for MIM versus MBA versus good college, and I'm currently working. Should I pursue MBA again from abroad to get exposure in international markets? I would say certainly yes. If your present reality lets you do it, I would say please go for it. When I say current reality lets you do it, right? I do not know how many years of work experience you have. I do not know what are your personal financial commitments, right? Have you taken a home loan? Have you taken a vehicle loan? Do you have to repay it? Have you taken a loan for your earlier round of education? Do you have to repay it? Keep these things in mind. And also, are you the breadwinner of the family, or are there others? And like you can basically step out, do an MBA without any problem. That if you have freedom on the personal count, I would say bat for it, go for it. It's certainly worth it. Primarily, if you're looking at an international career, it certainly is worth it. No doubt at all. You cannot, even with a top-notch college in India, right? How many people manage to get an international career? It's not much, because it's India-centric career that you do an MBA from the IIMs, from the ISB. If you want a career which is like international career, do it from the US, do it from Canada, do it from Europe, right? These are the places to do an MBA if you have an international career aspiration. Tier 3 college, we can always justify saying that I did it from a tier 3 college. I want international business learning experience. That is why I'm shifting to it. So you'd be able to justify it, right? Second thing, where you study matters. When you study really did not matter, right? You're done a tier 3 college MBA, that's gone in the past. If you had not done, I would say please don't do it, but you've done it. So it's definitely worth course correcting mid-career, right? If you have 3+ years of experience after the first MBA, it's time to look at an MBA, go to the top-notch schools, and it makes a world of difference. The experience is different from a good college versus a not so good college, right? Both in terms of the kind of profs that teach you, right? I graduated from IIM Calcutta. I can tell you the first class that I attended was an economics class, and we had Professor Amit Badri taking class for us. At the end of the 50 minutes of class, the first feeling that I got is, why did I not do a BA economics? Why did I do BE mechanical? Right? That's a kind of sea change that these professors can do, right? You get the best of the best teaching you. Learning from them is a life-changing and a lifetime experience, right? So for that, you need to do it. You go with a group of peers who have ambitions, who have like ideas, who have achieved pre-MBA a lot of things. That pushes you, that puts you in a company which can take you places, both in terms of pushing you that much harder and in terms of opening doors, because these are the guys, if you graduate from the top 15 schools in the US or in the Europe, they're going to be the CXOs 10-15 years down the line, right? You've been rubbing shoulders with these guys in campus. You would have partied with them, you would have been a project mate of them, you would have presented cases with them. So that is going to come in handy in your future career options. So the experience is world class, the facilities are world class, opportunities that you get will also be world class, and forget all of these things, they're there. The sheer joy of learning from someone who's a brilliant teacher is something that everyone, I think, should experience at least once in your lifetime. If you have not got it from your first MBA, you certainly should get it from your second MBA, right? So you should go for it, do a GMAT, and when you're doing a second MBA, do not settle for anything which is probably lower than 25th rank in the world, right? You're doing a second MBA, this has to be that much more meaningful. Right? I think this brings us to the last of the questions. I'll have a look at the chat windows and see if there is anything that I need to look at there. Just give me a minute, guys, before I someone entertainment today has asked, I have worked in IT company and currently working with a bank. How will it be a pro or con for my application suggest? Right. See, it's not going to be if anything, it's going to be a pro for you, for the simple reason you've got two different varied experience, right? IT experience, and I say when you're working with a bank, it's probably in the financial domain within the bank that you're working. You can say why you shifted, how this shift has given you a width of knowledge, and how you're able to kind of marry these two things and look at it, and you can pitch for career options which are in the financial domain, which are in IT sector, in business analytics and that kind of stuff, when it comes to primarily in the financial domain, right? Banking IT, it could be IT sector finance, it could be banking. So it is going to be a pro for you. It's going to be positive, right? Just see if there are any more questions. Please share your thoughts on GRE versus GMAT, especially for 1-year business analytics course. Hey, I'm going to be addressing this question in the next Q&A session. I would like to give pointers to it. So can you just hold on for a while? So I take this question in the next one. I have 1.5 years of work experience, further started an IT service website development startup and aspiring to achieve 720 in the GMAT. Can I make it to ISB Hyderabad? With good chance, if you got a startup experience, that's a lot of experience to write about. 720 plus GMAT, assuming your undergraduate scores are good, you should be able to make it. As in, your profile sounds good, and work towards a 720 plus GMAT. It's going to be helpful. Right. Also, my thing is, yes, ISB is one beautiful, brilliant school in India. It's a lovely place to go because if your India-centric career options is what you're looking at, ISB is a great option. If you get a 720 plus, apply to ISB, no doubt at all. But having only one college in your bag is risking everything there, right? So I would suggest look at schools in Singapore if you want to be in Asia Pacific. Look at schools outside India too. Don't restrict it to only to ISB, right? You would still make it to ISB. I'm not saying no. I have had a student who got rejected 2 years in a row in ISB, made it to Kellogg, right? So it's not that is Kellogg better, ISB better. I'm not getting into that debate at all. what each school looks at in an aspirant versus how many similar aspirants apply to a school could make a difference between whether you're going to get into that school that year or not get into the school that year. So you might be good in all aspects, but there are one too many people like you who are applying to ISB, that ISB might be like hard pressed to decide who to take it, and they might in the it might just be a throw of a coin that you did not make it, as in one small aspect of your resume might not have made you make it to the school. So I don't want you to be just looking at one school. Widen your horizon. 720 plus will land you in beautiful schools. Right, let me just look at, so I'm a chartered accountant and CMA having 5 years of experience, would like to pursue in US or Canada. Lovely, lovely. It helps you make a shift from accounting, income tax, those kinds of compliance related work that you probably would have done in the past, to an actual finance work. Makes a lot of difference. CA plus MBA actually get lovely jobs, especially in the finance domain. You should make it. We have done a video also as to why CA should do an MBA. At the end of the session, I'll post the URL link to that. I would like you to watch that video as well. A high GPA can boost your chances, but okay. Is work experience really necessary for applying to a B school? If yes, what is the minimum work experience? See, for an MBA program, typically they'll say if it is in India for ISB, have a 2+ years of experience. If it's outside India, have 3+ years of experience. There is a typical thing that they would say 48 months, 4 years is probably a good time to apply if you're applying to US and Europe. Right. If it is in India to ISB, it's 2 years of experience. But if you're applying to non-MBA program, if you're applying to MIM program, you do not need experience at all. These are similar curriculum, MBA program equivalent for freshers. Right. That's essentially what an MIM is all about. Kevin, nice to see you here. Kevin is in Purdue. Kevin scored a 760. Kevin, you could possibly, we will have a session where I could do a Zoom call with you or something, and we can share it with these people, right? Kevin has done an MBA from IIM Lucknow, and Kevin has completed his MBA from Purdue. We'll have a chat session, complete a video recording with Kevin in place. Will that be okay, Kevin? Just asking in a public forum after seeing your comment. Lovely to have you in this session, Kevin. Sarita Jain's question is, should I take the GMAT now if I'm planning to apply 3 to 4 years down the line? If you've already prepared for the GMAT, if your mock scores are good, if your scores are 10, 20 points above what you would think as a score you would require to get into a business school, I would say take the GMAT. Don't postpone it any further. If centers are available in the city that you are in, go and take it as a center-based examination. That is not available. Post May 20th, take it as an online examination, because they're bringing in the enhanced version of the GMAT examination on the 20th of May. With that examination, you get AWA, you get to take 2 breaks, you get to see your score preview immediately after the examination. So post May 20th, online examination is on par to the center-based examination, right? So if you've already prepared, if your mock scores are good, it's not worth postponing at all. Just take the examination right away. Pranav Vyas said, having work experience of 5+ years, but current package is between 4 to 5 lakhs. Planning for IIMs with PGPX, will they provide placements? Yes, the PGPX programs have placements. So it is a full-time residential 1-year MBA program which comes with placements. So if you want, you can opt out of it. But with the kind of career profile that I said, you should take up placements from there, and you would typically tend to get, I would say the median salary is likely to be, or the cost to company is likely to be about 20 lakhs plus Indian rupees. So you are likely to look at from where you are a 4x jump with a PGPX program, right? You might probably require about 730, 740 GMAT score to make the cut to this program. Do you have any practice tests that I can take before? Those are different questions. I'm looking at questions which are career related. Does clearing CFA level 1 will help me in getting into a top college? Yes, it certainly will help. It basically is saying that, hey, I'm looking at a finance career. I'm competent enough to clear CFA level 1, because CFA level 1 is not that easy an examination to clear. So you're giving a lot of signals to the school saying that, like, this particular applicant is a very good applicant for me to look at. So it'll enhance your chances. If you got a CFA level 1, brilliant. Apply MIM, or if you're willing to wait for an MBA, either case it's going to help you. Pratik Ghosh, is 500 hours sufficient for a 750 plus GMAT score? Definitely yes, definitely yes. It's see, it's like saying is 4 kgs of book enough to prepare for the GMAT? That kind of a question. But I get what you're saying. 500 plus hours of dedicated preparation is more than sufficient. I would typically say about 350 hours should do the job. Double healthcare MBA. Hey, let me do a bit of research before I shoot from my hip. Double healthcare MBA. Ajinkya, I would take this question up for the next session. I don't want to say something which I'm not confident about. Please, I'll answer it next time. Shashank, I have experience in edtech sales and moved into a leadership role of student life operations in a private university. Will this be considered a work? Certainly, yes. To give example, many people who have worked in Visaco and our sister concern 2IIM have year after year made it to schools both within India and outside India. Right. The lady who has taught a lot for us in the program, the verbal program, Shweta Rajagopal, she's now completing her MBA from USC Marshall. She has 15 years of experience before she did an MBA. She has a fantastic, outstanding GMAT score. That's a different issue, 780 plus, right? She got a 100% tuition fee waiver. So EdTech, education, university, these are essentially divergent applicant pool that you're bringing to the table. Typical applicant pool will be IT, finance, marketing, retail kind of a pool. So you bring in something that's completely different. So you're going to be bringing in diversity to the applicant pool. Get a good GMAT score certainly is going to help. And tech companies are in the news for the right reason or the wrong reason, more for the right reason. Therefore, if you understand how the domain is, how it's moving, where it's likely to move, especially in this pandemic era, how things have shaped up, it's a lot that you can talk in the interview, in your application. It's going to be a good opportunity to apply with this. Would like to have difference between 1 year MBAs in Europe. You can see typically is how these MBA programs have been structured, right? With the exception of London Business School, which lets you graduate in 15 months, 18 months, or 21 months, most top-notch business schools in Europe offer a 1 year MBA program. Their flagship program will be a 1 year program. They may not even have a 2 year program. In the US, the flagship programs have typically been a 2 year program. Right. Only thing is, these are the flagship programs. So if decided on the country, if you decided on being in Europe, then it's a 1 year MBA that you're going to go with. If it's US that you're looking at, it's going to be a 2 year MBA. If I were to answer this question, geography agnostic, should I look at a 1 year MBA or a 2 year MBA? Right. My only thing is, if you've already been in that location for a while, that you have a network in that location, a 1 year MBA will save you a year. Because unlike how placements happen in India you do a PGPX program in India, in IIM Ahmedabad will have a placement calendar and companies will come and recruit from there. In the US or in the Europe, that doesn't happen beyond the top 15 schools in the US. Companies don't go there at all. You network, you apply to companies, you build a path through which your resume will be seen by someone in the company, which means that you needed to have done summer internship, you needed to have built some kind of a relation with some companies in terms of doing projects for them, in terms of being in various clubs and building that network. That would require a little longer than a compressed 1 year program. So if you're relocating to, let's say, Europe or US and you do not have any contact at all there, my suggestion is go for a 2 year MBA. Probably US would do a better job than Europe would. Not because Europe MBAs are bad, because it's a 1 year program. You may not have adequate time to basically network. So networking for you should happen post the MBA. Whereas in US, it's going to happen as part of your MBA. Pratik, I'm looking for 1 year MBA from top business school. I've already done MBA from tier 3. I think we have answered that question. With experience of 2 years, I'm still a bit scared regarding the selection of good colleges in India, such as, okay. Super guys, what I'll do is I'll note down some of these questions. Some of these require a little more concerted effort in terms of getting a good answer, not just shooting from the hip. So we'll do one more session, probably today is what, 14th. On the 28th, which is another Friday at 7, we'll take more questions and we'll do it. Please leave your comment. Tell us how we could have made this session a lot more interesting. If there's any feedback from you, it's going to be valuable. And post your questions, keep them coming. For those that I have answers readily, I'll answer. For those where I'll have to speak to our alumni, right? People such as Kavin, like Shweta, various students in different countries and different places, we'll get answers for you and we'll route their answers through me to you. right? Follow us on these social media channels. This page has most of our handles are Visaco GMAT except for YouTube where it is Visaco, right? Thank you for staying in this program and stay safe. Uh, don't do anything uh, that is going to put your health at risk, right? Just be extremely careful. Use this opportunity to prepare well for the GMAT, right? Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for being a part of this session. I'll take the questions from this chat and we'll include it in the next session. If you have not tried GMAT's Visaco's GMAT online course, sign up as a trial user at gmat.visaco.com. Looking for a GMAT live online class, you can schedule a demo at wzko.in/demo, right? So this brings an end to our session. Thank you so much. Stay safe.